here we are working on doing an angel conference with a virtual only process. The angel investors have been through this program only meeting each other through Zoom meetings. And so today is the final event of what has been 3 months of meetings. We have 53 companies that applied. We have 43 investors that have joined the group. And by the time we get done with this, we will have picked at least one company which will get an investment from the fund, somewhere around $200,000. This program is a program that has been running for almost a decade now. We're in round 17. So at the end of this, it'll be the end of year 9. But it started in Entrepreneur Network and the Angel Oregon program in 2002. So we have a bunch of these around the world now: Bend, San Diego, Kelowna, Anchorage, all around the notion of creating new angel investors. So you will notice that some of the people will have parenthesis investor around their name, and that means that they're in the investor group. And you'll notice that the companies have paren in the company name. If you see a paren company name -DD, that's a due diligence lead, who is a person who was leading the evaluation of the company. So all of these companies have been explored in probably they would consider excruciating detail. It's important for us to say something about the fact that this is not an intent to get people to invest. The LLC was formed 3 months ago. The investors have been working on this for 3 months. We're not seeking new investors into the program. So whatever you hear here is not an investment request. Bob will come on later and tell you a little bit about how to be effective with this tool. But before we get going too much further, I'd like to introduce Kurt Bilifer. Kurt is one of the people who has made this possible because he has been the LLC manager, which is the person who is responsible for getting all of the investors together, getting the LLC process together, and other being the volunteer managing this for the next 10 years for however long the investment lasts. He will be in charge of that process. So let me make sure I can find him on this participants list and get him up on stage here. Hi, Kurt.
Hey, John. Hey, everybody.
Yeah. So, Kurt, you've been you came through SAC as a participant, and then we brought you into this question of being an LLC lead. Could you talk a little bit about how that experience was for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I joined SAC 16 a couple weeks late, but enjoyed the experience of meetings and entrepreneurs, and the investors, the LPs that participated in SAC 16. And through that, Mendoza was 16. Encouraged me to become the fund manager for 17. And it's taken on, just a whole new life. So transplant from the Bay Area. I've been up here for about 3 years. I'm a very active angel with about 100 investors, and have aspirations venture fund. And so this was just a great opportunity to really understand what it's like in sort of a forgiving environment, and work with a lot of individuals that are passionate about building a startup ecosystem up here in the Pacific Northwest. This fund was, evolving. It was a little different than the last one. So we have about 45 investors in this fund, participation from women, which is awesome. Not enough, but certainly trending in the right direction. And we formally rolled out the concept of sponsored angels. So we had returning SAC investors that maybe didn't have the time but had the money to sponsor non-accredited or people that were very early in their angel investing journey to come and participate and either act as a proxy or vote independently. And that's something we certainly want to lean into, since again, the goal of Seattle Angel Conference is to create more angels, demystify the process, and more inclusive. We all have more companies than we typically see. So we had a little over 60 getting stages, tech, B2B SaaS companies. There's a broad cross section, some in search of product market fit, others that are further along revenue generating, even close to break even. And the cool thing is when we enter SAC, individuals may have an investment thesis, but the fund itself does not have an investment thesis. It's sort of like a group think. And I find at times that can be a challenge because I do have an investment thesis. It also helps me learn and develop and your assumptions. So it's a great process. As John mentioned, we only actually ever had one in-person event, which was on March 3rd. And that was a sort of meet and greet for all of the investor participants. And 3 days later, we found out there was COVID-19, a person had gotten COVID-19 in the building. So we quickly moved to a virtual environment. So you can only imagine how chaotic it is with roughly 50 people on a Zoom call, trying to figure out what's going on, the process, how do we do due diligence, how do we evaluate these companies. And thankfully, John shepherded us through the process, as he always does with every SAC cohort. And here we are with 6 amazing companies. We're using new tech, so please be forgiving. We've basically been using this for 3 or 4 days and testing it out. But one of the most important things about Seattle Angel Conference, making connections. And so having these meeting rooms, making them smaller so that you get to know who you're in, the investors. So I hope everybody uses this opportunity to network and build out the ecosystem. And I certainly want to thank Eric Watson, who's going to be coming on here in just a minute. Eric was the assistant fund manager for SAC 17, and he'll actually be the fund manager for SAC 18. So super appreciative for all of his assistance and excited to see him run 18. John, over to you.
Thanks so much. I'm looking forward to seeing what you do. So Eric has been the assistant LLC manager helping you along the way. And we'll dive into that and see how that works. So Eric, can you tell people a little bit about what you experienced when you're doing this work?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, this was great. I had, unlike some of the other assistant fund managers we've had in the past, I had a little bit of experience working on developing other funds. And so for me, this was not only a refresher of some things that I had forgotten, but also really a deep dive into what it's like to create a seed fund for startups as a unique asset class. And so I couldn't have had a better coach than Kurt through that process. Somebody who's actually been a very active angel. I've only dabbled in angel investments as compared to him and others in our team. So it was great for me to be able to meet such an esteemed group and benefit from their knowledge and experience. And I was put in charge of due diligence. And again, it turned out to be a wonderful experience in most part because the due diligence leads that we had selected on our teams already brought a tremendous amount of professionalism and experience to the process. And so really my job was made very easy by being surrounded by great people. So it's been a wonderful experience for me personally. Professionally, it's been a growth experience. And I look forward to leading our next fund, SAC 18, which we'll be raising money for immediately at the conclusion of today's festivities. So if anyone has any questions about the SAC 18 fund or how they can participate in the future, please look me up and feel free to give me a call. And I'll be milling about, and you can find my information on the profile.
Thanks very much, Eric. I appreciate that. Let me adjust that. So most of the tools or the process that we're going to do today is going to be managed by our MC, who's been the MC for the whole of Seattle Angel Conference, Bob Crimmins. He's at Startup Haven and is doing a lot of interesting things with the Startup Haven program. So Bob, can you come on up here? Here we go. Hi, Bob.
John.
Thanks for being the MC.
Absolutely.
I'm going to turn it over to you. I appreciate your help with this. Tell us more a little bit about Startup Haven and what we're doing.
Sure. Well, I haven't perused the entire list of attendees today, but I'm certain that at least maybe a quarter or a third of the attendees here today are members of one kind or another in Startup Haven. So Startup Haven is a membership organization for venture scale founders and investors. Been doing this since 2006, and COVID, interestingly, has allowed us now to think about being virtual and expanding beyond the West Coast. So I'm excited about that. And John, I just got to say kudos and thank you for all the work you've done with the Seattle Angel Conference, truly moving the needle in the investment ecosystem in Seattle. So strange new world, and here we are virtual for SAC 17. And thank you, Kurt, for stressing that this is new technology. We're altering the process a little bit. We're going to likely learn some things, and if we do one of these again, I expect it to get better. We're going to spend some time helping you all with the technology as well. So you'll notice in the rooms with the tables, there's a table called support. So if you ever have any trouble, please head over there and someone there will try to solve your problem. I will say that
actually called info on the upper right.
Okay, it'll either be called info or support, whichever one you find sitting in the top right corner. In any case, we'll try to help you out. As a general rule, if you're having trouble, start by refreshing your browser. These are some of the things that were explained in the video, but some people got in before the video started, so I just want to hit on a few things. So if you're not using Chrome, you should be using Chrome. That's the supported browser by Remo. Feel free to exit out and come back in Chrome. If you have any trouble with audio, video, or any functionality, just go ahead and refresh your screen or close your browser and reopen. Pardon me. For the content for today. So normally, if you've been to some SACs in the past, we had food. We had bathrooms. I had to tell you all where the bathrooms are. I have to do that now. You likely have some food in your kitchen. The run of show, we won't have any speakers this time. Too many moving pieces. We might introduce that in the next virtual version of this. So really your mission today is to meet the teams, understand the companies, think of if you're not an investor in SAC, if you're an angel investor or you're just a founder or anyone else who's attending today, we do want you to think about the sort of act and process of investing. So as you go talk to these teams and as you see them pitch, be thinking about if you had to make an investment, which company would you invest in? And we'll have a poll that we'll share a link in chat a little bit later for everybody to vote on who they think is the best company for them to invest in. And so we'll make an announcement at the end to see how close the audience favorite, whether or not it matches the investors selection. So that'll be coming later. In the meantime, the process for the pitches will be just like it was in the past. We're going to have 10-minute pitches with 5-minute due diligence for the purpose of, or for the benefit of, I should say, for the benefit of our teams. I'm going to share my screen. So the teams right now don't know who's up when. So I'm going to share a list. So all the teams, you should be watching my screen here now. I'm going to show you the pitch order and the approximate times. We're saying approximate because we don't know what kind of glitches we might run into. But in any case, this is the order all of the teams will be pitching, and it includes the diligence lead. So I will be pulling you all up to the stage when your time arrives. You'll have 10 minutes. You'll each start a timer on your cell phone for 10 minutes, and the diligence leads should start a timer when they come up for 5 minutes. We'll also be running a timer. We'll give a few seconds worth of leeway because this is a little bit of an imperfect process, but we do want to make sure that we move things along and that we give every team the same benefit of time. So when you get to 10 minutes, you should expect me to come back on and virtually applaud because you're done. And then I'll bring up the diligence lead. We'll have the diligence conversation, and then we'll move on to the next team. We'll try to move through them as quickly as we do in real life in our live events. And so if anybody has any questions about that too, feel free to text me directly and I can help straighten folks out. All right, so there's that. Okay, I'm going to, sorry about that. Lots of new stuff to learn, huh? Okay, good. So for your mission today, meeting the teams, learning about them, learning about their companies, acting and engaging with them in the way that an investor would, which is to be curious about their business and their business model and their traction and their team and their product and their customer. So try to make your way to as many of the team tables as you can to have a conversation, meet those teams. It will mean more to you when they finally pitch. And then this, we've said this every time for 16 other SACs. This is a great room. There are just terrific people virtually in these rooms. So please make the best effort you can to meet some people. This virtual networking thing is a little bit odd for all of us. I wanted to share a couple tips. So if you see someone's little icon, if you haven't already updated your profile, by the way, I hope that you'll do that. Give yourself a profile picture, connect your LinkedIn profile and give yourself a real name. And if you want to list your company or firm, that's fine too. And then if you right click on someone's little circle at a table, you can invite them to come to a table that you're at. So if you want to have a private conversation with someone, you can grab an empty table and then you can right click on someone else in that room and ask them to come join you at the table. Feel free, if you're not actively involved in a conversation, it's not rude just to leave and go find another table. The virtualness of this kind of engagement is unusual, to say the least. And the best thing that you could do is just to walk around, meet as many people as you can. And if you can find some folks to help, find some, if you need some help, ask for some help. But at a minimum, try to meet some people. Think about this as an opportunity to start to build some more relationships in the startup ecosystem. All right, so we're gonna give you guys some time to go mingle, to meet some folks, go talk to the teams, and then we're gonna bring you all back at the time. I think we're still pretty close to on track. So it'll be around 4 o'clock that we'll come back and get everybody on stage, and we'll run through the pitches. All right, and if you have any questions for me, please feel free to grab me at a table, invite me to one of your tables. I'll be happy to come over. One last thing, and this is a little bit strange, I know, for a lot of people. If you haven't already discovered this, the virtual environment we're in has floors. There are 4 floors. The first floor is teams. Second floor is principally angel investor groups and other investors at that level. The third level, just networking, go up, meet some people, hang out, chill out. And then in the 4th floor, we're trying to reserve that for quiet tables where 1 or 2 or 3 people, 2 or 3 people can have a quieter conversation. So navigate around, let us know if you have any questions, and we'll see you soon. John, do you have anything else to add?
Nope, you got it.
All right, good. All right, we will talk soon.
Layoffs and potential furloughs. Many of us are working around the clock and are suffering from exhaustion, burnout, and stress. Loss of our former lives, and we're just working double time to keep up. And yet, in all of this, losing a top employee is still expensive. In fact, it can cost upwards 200% of their salary. And in Seattle, that means you could be spending upwards $500,000 to replace that employee. Now, we've known for years that the changing workplace dynamics like remote work and generational workplace shifts have made knowledge transfer and engaging top talent more difficult. But with COVID, this just makes everything more difficult. So what is Tribute uniquely doing to solve this? Well, with Tribute, we connect your remote workforce with a modern mentorship app. We provide what we're calling a digital water cooler that connects your employees real time to problem solve for their needs. We have a unique philosophy on mentorship. We lead with storytelling. We help you connect through shared life experiences. We build community and foster a sense of belonging and purpose. Ultimately, we're on this journey to help companies redefine mentorship from more traditional models to these modern mentorship model that you can see here. And in good times and bad, Tribute helps companies increase retention, productivity, and job satisfaction by offering a mentoring program that employees actually want to use. Here are just some of the benefits of having a modern mentoring program in your organization. You can decrease onboarding time, you can better identify leaders in your organization, and you can ultimately reduce turnover. And if you save just one company or one person from leaving your company, you'll already have realized an 11x ROI with Tribute. So how does it work? Tribute is designed for the way that we naturally connect with one another, using technology to make mentorship more accessible, efficient, and effective. Employees are invited to download the Tribute app on their mobile device and to sign in using their company email. Once they do that, they're able to self-navigate through our platform to find a mentor or mentee that they'd like to connect with. And they can do this one of three ways. The first of which is they can swipe through our discovery queue, and this allows them to read stories and meet new people. They can filter down that discovery queue by the life experience or the professional skill that they're seeking out of mentorship and meet people that way, not unlike how we meet people in our real lives. You can follow people, so you don't have to request mentorship from them immediately. You can read their reflections and get to know them over time, building your network of mentors for rainy days. And finally, our app offers community groups, and these community groups can be organized by employee resource group, by job department or function, or even topics of interest like dealing with imposter syndrome or learning how to be better at public speaking. So all of these ways that we connect in the app are very comfortable in the ways we naturally connect. Tribute's biggest differentiator, we lead with storytelling. Why? Well, it's quite simple. It's because stories inspire action. And if any of you have seen Michelle Obama's Becoming Netflix documentary, then you'll know that she says in there, stories, not stats. Stats are boring. Stories are powerful. Stories break down barriers amongst each other and even within ourselves. And here are just some examples of the stories that we have on our platform today. And you can see, I'll give you a minute to read these, but these individuals have inspired hundreds of people with their stories already on our platform. So let's talk business. I think by now you hopefully see that Tribute is not just an inspiring idea and compelling product, but are we a good business? And the answer is yes. The workplace training industry is growing and is over $300 billion alone. And if you break out the categories of spend that Tribute uniquely addresses, from collaborative learning, on-the-job training, and online self-study, that marketplace is over $1 billion alone and growing. You can see on the right-hand side of the slide that there's some key marketplace shifts that are driving this growth, from moving out of classroom training to more digital paths, from moving away from instructor-led to more peer-to-peer learning opportunities, and ultimately moving away from this idea that we are going to have a career lifelong mentor into a sort of a board of mentors that help us in between our careers and kind of for moments. With COVID, we're seeing as well that Tribute is moving from being a nice to have to a need to have. So let's talk about momentum. We've actually been on this journey for 2.5 years, so we're right time, right product. In 2018, we established our business and brand. In 2019, we pre-sold our beta product to Microsoft and released 10 additional releases of Tribute while learning along with our customers. 2020 has already been a banner year. We released Tribute with our second enterprise customer, Zillow, and we've expanded our footprint within Microsoft to 2 new divisions, their US sales division as well as Xbox. In just under 1 year, we've 4x'd our revenue within our Microsoft account. We're projecting to reach $250,000 in sales by June and to 5x our pipeline by the end of 2020 with customers like Netflix, Experian, and DocuSign. And in the last 4 weeks since joining the finals, Tribute was invited to participate in the People Tech Partners HR Tech Accelerator out of San Francisco. This is an HR Tech Accelerator that pairs HR tech startups like Tribute with innovative people leaders from some of the largest companies in the world who are looking for innovative tech like Tribute. Now, if I break out our revenue growth from just the last year, you can see our journey from going from $0 to $250,000 of annual recurring revenue. You'll see that with COVID, we actually saw a spike in pipeline, and also that in order to get to that $250,000, we're going to have to retire almost 150,000 of that pipeline in 3 months to get there, reducing our sales cycle from 6 to 9 months to just under 3. So how do we make money? We have an introductory offering that starts at $50,000 a year. We land and expand that into other departments and companies, but we've also outlined a product vision for how we're going to upsell into additional higher product tiers to be able to upsell into our accounts. We'll 5x our revenue this year. And one of the beauties of Tribute is that we're a low burn SaaS business. So given all of the economic uncertainty, what's great about our product is we've got a product to sell on the truck today. And if needed, our burn rate can be as low as less than $2K a month. Let's talk about competition. So Tribute exists in a highly fragmented HR tech landscape, and it makes sense for me to kind of walk you through how we exist in all of that. Ultimately, Tribute's a learning and development tool. And when you look at learning and development leaders, they need to provide mentoring programs that help attract and retain employees, connect employees at a more personal level. This is where you're seeing the rise of the employee resource group. They need to upskill their workforce, identify leaders, and ultimately increase the employee value proposition. Tribute is the only company that exists in the intersection of learning content and learning experience. And this is an area that if you follow Josh Burson at all, any HR tech fans in the audience, he says that the intersection between LMS and learning experience platforms is actually the place where we're going to see the most growth, focus, and convergence in the HR tech market. So really, this is our chance to get ahead of that marketplace. All right, let's look at the team. This has been an area of focus and growth for us this year. In just the last 4 weeks since entering the finals, we've onboarded 2 new team members. Danielle Hill joins us from the Riveter, where she was their COO that helped Amy Nelson scale from pre-Series A to 9 locations across the country. Danielle is responsible for customer success, not only managing our existing set of accounts, but helping us capture early product learnings so that we can scale our onboarding process for future customers. Diana will be joining us as an MBA intern this summer from the University of Washington. She has also worked at Microsoft and a local startup, Porch. She will be helping us with lead generation this summer as well as product marketing. In addition to Danielle and Diana, we have our UX UI design lead, Sarah Moore, who designs our product and all associated marketing materials we need for customer acquisition. Our product is built by Leapfrog, and a local outsourced development firm. We plan to keep our development outsourced until Series A, and we're actively recruiting a VP of engineering. In addition to our team members, we have a seasoned advisory board. I want to take a moment to just introduce you to a few of them. Jeff Diana spent his entire career in the HR industry, working at GE, Microsoft, and most notably as the Chief People Officer at SuccessFactors and Atlassian. Aaron Faverty, who is one of the co-creators of People Tech Partners, joins Tribute and says why Tribute is solving a problem that continues to rise in strategic importance across industries and organizations with a solution that is smart, modern, and truly fosters the connection that employees and employers are seeking. And Lisa Nelson needs no introduction. She's the creator of M12, Microsoft's venture arm. She is well known here in the Seattle industry and beyond, and it's a true honor that Lisa wants to serve on our board. We're raising $1 million in a pre-seed round, and use of funds will be spent on product development, customer acquisition, and continuing to invest in our team. My name is Sarah Haggard. I'm honored to be here today. Thank you so much for listening. Bob, back to you.
Thank you, Sarah. Terrific job. And so now we will bring up your diligence lead. Let me just go to list here.
Fantastic.
And I'm searching. There we go.
That's my timer.
Nice job. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Oh, mine's going off right now too. Okay. Alex, welcome to the stage. I'm going to disappear. Do you have your deck ready?
Thank you. Good to see you again, Sarah.
Yes. Thank you, Alex, for leading our due diligence committee.
Absolutely. Can share this here for a second. All right. So I've been asked to make a few comments about the role that the due diligence team played, specifically in the case of working with Sarah on Tribute, and then we'll wrap that up with about 3.5 or 4 minutes of a Q&A at the very end. So one thing I can say right off the bat is I think it's been a pleasure working with Sarah. She's very transparent and very authentic in her communications. And it's obvious from her initial pitch to the group to the point that she's reached at now that she's absorbed a lot of the feedback that we've given her. So I think you'll see some of the point that we investigated addressed in her presentation itself. So just really briefly, on the left here, you see the names of the due diligence team members. I just want to thank everyone for the active participation in the process, which took several weeks. We met with Sarah several times. We met with her advisors. We combed through the financials, cap table, cash flow, income statements. We had a few people with a technical background look into the architecture the Tribute was built upon, and the roadmap, and validated the feasibility of expanding on some of the features that she has envisioned. And then we also had folks looking into the marketing and sales and validating the marketing opportunity, and the customers that she's attained to date, interviews with those customers, and looking at the pipeline she envisions and assessing whether or not those goals seem realistic and attainable, especially in the environment of COVID. So with all of that, there's a few following highlights when we speak from our SWOT. We agree there's a large market opportunity here with a lot of greenfield opportunities. It is still somewhat ill-defined, and people are moving into spaces that have not yet been created. So Tribute does have an opportunity to be a pioneer in those spaces. The COVID environment and the industry shift towards remote workplaces seem to work in her favor, and the people accelerator tech that she mentioned are all things that are positive tailwinds going for Tribute. As for the company itself, the value proposition, I encourage those of you who might not know that much about the mentorship field to look into it a bit more, because it's a little bit more involved than it appears on the surface, and Sarah does a nice job of expanding what she calls modern mentorship as opposed to traditional mentorship that many of us may be familiar with. She has achieved traction with a few paying customers, and those customers have by and large given very positive feedback, and the advisors even more so. Her minimal fixed expenses give us a lot of confidence that she can survive COVID. If she needs to, she can go on a low burn and get through a tough economy. But if anything, again, we see COVID as being a positive tailwind for the company. And she's achieved a lot in just 1 year. Really, it's been Sarah, by and large, taking the reins of this company. And it's impressive, we feel, what she's accomplished with very limited resources. That being said, a couple of the real quick thoughts. Some of the competitors seem farther along in development, which is not to say they're going in the right direction, but they are funded and they are looking at moving into a similar space. And execution, not IP, seem to be a key part of how this field will develop and continue to grow. The weakness we've identified, which is going to be the focus, I think, a little bit of my Q&A, is that Sarah, for all of her accomplishment, is a sole founder, so the risk of management is not well diversified across a number of different people. She does have limited cash on hand, and so her growth and accelerating growth and achieving the development she talked about does depend on her being able to fundraise, we feel. And the lengthy onboarding process, which is currently 3 months, is being cut down, but has not yet actually manifested itself. So with that being said, we feel positive about this investment, but I'd like to ask you a few questions in the remaining time. One is, she talks about bringing on board new members, and we think that that will be a critical part of the success. But I'd like to hear from Sarah about what experience she has to demonstrate that she can successfully do that and scale a team.
Yeah, thank you. I'd be happy to talk about that. You know, I was kind of a unique bird at Microsoft. I was, sort of an entrepreneur throughout my career there, and would often get the opportunity to start pilot projects within Microsoft and to scale those. So throughout my career, decade-long career at Microsoft, I built and scaled several teams quickly, not unlike startups where, you've got a lot on the line, there's a lot of visibility, you've got limited resources, you've got to do a lot with your team, and ultimately that comes down to being able to create, a high-performing culture inside of that team as well. So I've had several experiences. I think I have a couple of my team members actually here with us tonight, and I know the team also interviewed some of them as well. But yeah, I think no stranger to building high-performing teams, and really looking forward to that now that we've sort of earned the right to get to this growth stage, to building out the remainder of Team Tribute.
Great, thank you, Sarah.
Yeah.
Next question we have is, you mentioned that HR tech is a rapidly evolving field, and we are interested in learning more about how you might use that funding to expand on product features and actually manifest Tribute into potential in that field. Can you tell us a little bit about how you plan to actually scale product development and what features you feel are most critical for forward-looking success?
Yeah,
Sarah, I'll
absolutely.
let you finish that question. This will be your last question.
Okay, yeah. So assuming the win with SAC, our biggest investment will be product development. It is a busy marketplace. I think one of the unique differentiators with Tribute is we're really going after building a product that employees want to use in this very novel way. I think one of the things that we've started to really rally around this concept of being a digital water cooler now that we're all working remote from our homes and, losing that opportunity to go connect with our colleagues in person. One of the big feature areas that we'll be investing in with Tribute is, there's a feature we're calling Beacon, but it's really about being able to create more on-demand opportunities for employees to find the mentorship for a moment that they need to sort of problem solve through their days. So, continuing to invest in those types of features, but also just rounding out our product strategy and being able to be kind of on the bleeding edge of more of sort of that innovative learning experience tech that we're seeing. So that's what we'll be investing in.
All right. Well, thank you both. Alex, nice job on the diligence. Sarah, terrific presentation. And I'll encourage all the speakers when you're done to go read the comments. You have a lot of fans out there.
Thank you all. I appreciate it.
Let's see. And I'm going to switch mode so I can take you guys off the screen. And there. Okay, so wanted just to mention, let's see, hang on a second. So, well, first of all, so Navit is next, Aaron Papperworth. I'll be pulling you up on the stage here in a moment. And Chelsea, you'll be up after Aaron. And there was a question in the chat. I just want to make sure that I get to all the questions that were in the chat. Let's see. What was that? Oh, yes, I was going to share the pitch schedule so that you all can see when you're up. So I just have this up in a document. I will share that with you all. So all teams, please tune in for a moment. So this is the pitch schedule. Right now we are a tad behind, about 5 minutes behind. We'll see if we make that up. All right. So Aaron, I'm about to tap you on the shoulder.
Hey, Bob.
Hi, Aaron.
Hi, how are you?
Very good. Welcome to the stage. Do you have your deck ready?
I do.
Okay, great. So I'm going to disappear and then I will start my timer.
Okay, and I'm going to share.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Yes, I can.
Excuse me.
All right. Good luck.
There we go. I'm sorry. Hold on one sec. Of course. So, I'm so sorry. Give me 1 second. Let me refresh this. Of course, we prepped for tech a million times and this didn't work.
And no worries. We'll reset.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. What are you seeing? Anything I can help with?
No, I think it's good now. Let me check just 1 sec. Yeah, perfect. Okay, I will reshare. Can you guys see? Let me do one more time. Sorry, Bob.
No, no worries. We're all learning.
Yes, this is a digital
All right, you look good.
education. You're good?
I'm out of here.
Okay. So hi, my name is Erin Papperworth. I'm the CEO and founder of Navit. Navit is on a mission to change the narrative around money to make it more practical and really focus on a user's overall well-being. That means we provide banking solutions that focus on a user's financial health rather than just their bank accounts. We act like a Fitbit, but for your financial health. People under 45 have quite a unique financial picture. They have high debt thanks to student loan increases and credit card APRs over the last 25 years. 76% of Americans under 45 report some sort of financial stress, and that was before March 2020. Financial stress in this country is endemic. It hits people at all income levels and has more to do with your money mindset and your financial literacy than it has to do with the amount you bring in every month. COVID-19 hasn't created financial stress in our society. It's exacerbated a problem that was already there. That's why NAVIT is the perfect solution for the American society right now during these times. NAVIT looks at money differently. We believe banking is a necessary tool that gives you the foundation to build a healthy and financially sound future. Everyone needs money, but how we as individuals approach money, how we feel about it, how we understand it, is the key to an abundant life and overall long-term well-being. So we built an app. We built a money management tool that combines banking and automated savings with financial health metrics and tracking. Sometimes you just need the power of technology to give you the analytics and the resources to help you make better financial decisions. We help you track your financial spending today, just like an Apple Watch or your Fitbit would track your heart rate. We help you track your credit card spending over the month, just like you track the number of steps you took and how your trends are looking over time. Users integrate NAVIT into their daily routine with digestible metrics that keep them on track towards their goals and show them trends in the last month, 2 months, and in the last year. The other thing we do that's hyper unique is we provide a moment for people to add mindfulness and self-awareness into their money management. Have you ever really considered how your mood affects your spending? Did you know you probably have a spending pattern that is a trend over time and what happens to you over the month between bills and income? We worked with a neuropsychologist for a year to build out our platform to make it highly intuitive and help users individually build a future of financial resilience. By adding the layer of self-awareness in the app, we allow people to see their behavior clearly and recalibrate as they go. It's working. We've been in the market, in the consumer market, for the last 12 months. We had a beta version, and we have had amazing feedback from our navigators, not only that have helped us iterate, but really showed a demand for our banking product. Before COVID-19, we were at about 4,000 or 5,000 users, and within 4 days during the COVID-19 crisis, we received 6,000 downloads at a cost per acquisition of less than $1.70. So 6,000 downloads in 4 days proves that there is a desire for this product in the market, and COVID-19 is just exacerbating people's desire to search it out. The other thing that we have shown in this time period is it's very rare for a financial app to trend on any sort of Apple or Google store, and we were in the top 6 apps downloaded on Google Play during that time period. Now let's talk details. Excuse me, that one. So our audience. So we have 2 important audiences and markets. First, we're selling already in the consumer market to B2C. Our target demographic are 20 to 40-year-old consumers with income less than 100,000. That's where we're overperforming. We equally have the B2B market, which is the enterprise sales that we have started in the last 3 months and really have been accelerated by this COVID-19 crisis. Because what we're seeing is employers want to provide financial resources to their employees, especially in the front line of this response. So these 2 markets are essential. I want to walk through the business flow. First, we have the B2C market where we have free users download our app. We upsell them into an individual subscription. So we have a premium version that creates ARR. And from there, we can upsell those users into our banking features. So our customer lifetime value can be derived from the subscriptions and banking, or just from individual banking. Second of all, we have the employers who do the same thing. So the employers pay for the employees to come in and subsidize the subscription for the employees. And then once we have the employees on our platform, we can upsell them into our banking features. So the business model is outstanding. We have our 5-year projections, have our sales well over 100 million in 5 years with our financial products. We first start with the premium sales. So we start with the employer sales, we start with the individual sales, but as those sales fuel our user base, over time, the largest revenue stream is really our banking features. Since that's true, let me give you a little bit of an outline and a distribution of our banking features. So we have 3 banking features in the pipeline. Right now we have savings in the market, and we're fundraising this seed round to be able to roll out our checking and lending products. And as you can see, over time, lending is really the lion's share of the banking revenue, but the checking and the savings act as a base that fuel each other and that we can pre-identify highly qualified potential clients for the lending product. So all 3 are important and they grow over time. We are fundraising $1 million seed round. We've bootstrapped to date. We've learned incredible lessons. We've had a product in the market, and now we're ready to grow and turn on our revenue streams. 40% of our use of funds for this seed round is going to go to user growth. So double down on the lessons we've learned in paid advertising, start our affiliate program, and really build out our employee benefits sales team. And then 60% is optimization and product. So optimizing for the monetization we have now, rolling out checking and lending, getting good data analytics in there, and of course, hiring a pre-identified banking product expert. From the sales, I've spoken about our successes in the B2C world, but from the employer side, we have seen incredible opportunities arise in the last 2 months with COVID-19 occurring. We have 2 possible pilots that we're working on finalizing by the end of the year with 2 key consulting firms out of New York. We're in conversations with one of the top insurance carriers in the country, and if those conversations goes well, we'd be in front of millions of people that they would white label our product and add that into their employee benefits package. And then we're talking to 2 Fortune 500 lead enterprises that would put us in front of over 50,000 users. Revenue, so just to hyper focus on this, we're pre-revenue, but the seed round is really with the intention, again, of turning on our revenue streams. So turning on the individual subscriptions in the next 2 months, starting to generate revenue there, working on the employer sales and the banking revenue, and really starting to see substantial revenue in Q1 2021 with all 3. We have an amazing team. Most of them are here right now. I'm Erin Papperworth. I'm a 2-time entrepreneur. I started a consulting business that I grew to 6 figures in 12 months. I have a behavioral science background, and I have international management experience. Maya Monell, my amazing co-founder, is our CMO, and she has a lot of great experience, mainly out of Silicon Valley, doing high growth marketing for startups. And then Darren Cox is a 2-time entrepreneur. He recently exited before us. He exited his company to Graham Holdings out of DC, and he's a full stack entrepreneur. We're so grateful to have him on the team. And then we have an amazing digital marketing expert, Emily Elmore. Cosetta Smith is another team member under Maya. And then we have another full stack developer, Brian Freeman, who's also under Darren in the United States. Our advisors are equally amazing. We have Jordan Wright, who is a 3-time fintech entrepreneur. Jordan really led the way on the fintech revolution by understanding and innovating on the core processing that basically fuels the whole fintech revolution right now. He's a great add for our fintech expertise. We have a woman we can't announce till the end of the month, but she is an SVP at a Fortune 500 that is specializing in employer benefits. So really brings out that network and employee sales. We have Zach Pettit, who is also in the fintech space. He worked for NBKC Bank, which is our partner bank, and he's also at a fintech right now that's doing core processing. And then John Bricker is the amazing principal at Gensler, who is a marketing and brand expert and also brings employer sales to our team. So if you think that it's the time that technology and financial services start to actually focus on the financial health of a user as opposed to their bank accounts, please, we welcome you to join us on this mission and help us nav it. Thanks so much. Back to you, Bob.
Hi, Erin.
Hi, Chelsea. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. Let me just share my screen real quick. This process.
And I'll give you just
oh, sure, go ahead.
I'll give you just a second to get your stuff up. I didn't mean to run away and put the pressure on.
Oh, no problem. Awesome. Okay, so we had a really fantastic team that was able to look at the different aspects of the company. So I'm going to talk a little bit about each of the areas that we explored, and then just a couple questions for you to further dig into. So I'll get right to it. So first and foremost, we always look at team. Is this team we want to invest in? And what we found during this time is that the entire team is really passionate, and they were super easy to work with. We could tell that the mission to help educate users and help them potentially navigate out of debt and build wealth was really close to their hearts. They were super easy to work with. We went back and forth about a lot of different documents so that we could really understand them. They met with us sometimes multiple times per week and turned around documents super quickly for us during this process. That was really, really fantastic to see. See if I can get to the next slide. There we go. Next thing we looked at was the market. It's a really large market. It's been one that's been difficult to tap. Millennials are so app-based and tech-based that, it's just not something that's been super well covered. There's products out there, but this is fundamentally different in terms of the coaching and education offered. Let's see. Next thing we looked at, I went too far, competition. As I said, the market's really large. It hasn't really been tapped. So there are other products in the area, like Mint, for example, is one that I know a lot of people use. But again, it's just fundamentally different. There have been a lot of other products that haven't done so well. There have been some acquisitions. So this is still an area that really needs some coverage and needs someone to break in. Technology is, obviously a big central point of this. We looked a lot at what was the tech stack, because obviously it has to be super secure. Tech stack we had no problems with. It was very cloud native and scalable. The space itself is highly regulated. And so just the sheer fact that they've been able to contract with both a central provider, Plaid, and the banks suggests that they've got a lot of their systems buttoned up just by nature of being able to do business with them. The auditing capabilities and the regulation there is not light. So that does speak well to them and offers them a bit of a moat. In terms of the financials, we obviously want to make sure, is this a viable company? We really saw a few pivots during this time that we thought were well thought out. We had to go and do a bunch of deep dives into how that works because they were new, and we're really impressed with the company being able to explain those and break those down, and just seeing the growth during that time since they were a little bit newer in terms of being added as features. So it was nice to see that the revenue streams really came out, and the value proposition was really there as well. So a couple of questions. What's the plan for expanding your team? This has obviously got a lot of different moving pieces, so thought we'd let you speak to that.
Thank you. Yes, and I have to say thank you for leading. I feel like I'm sure everyone feels as if I had really an amazing experience, and your team was amazing. So I really appreciate that. It just made us better, and I'm proud of that. So from our team perspective, as I identified, from the 40% user growth that we want, we do need to build out employee sales. I think right now we can cover that in-house between me and my co-founder for the next 6 months, but over time with seed funding, and as we start to generate some revenue there, we will have to kind of expand the team for sales in the employer world in 2021. And then from the product side, we have two amazing developers who, I appreciate you saying that. The regulatory world and the stack here is not a joke. And we've had our two amazing, my CTO and his team, his other senior developer, build that out. But it will be time to start to add on more development support. So we already have a UI UX developer coming in the next 2 weeks. And then we have a pre-identified fintech product expert who is slated to, when we get the seed funding, to get back on the team. So he's been kind of in and out supporting us, but we would bring him on in a kind of more robust manner when we raise this round.
And then finally, I thought I'd give you a chance to talk a little bit. You do financial coaching and offer advice, but I know you've got this really interesting ML roadmap as you gather data and about your users.
Yes, you know, what's so amazing about this, and I can give a couple examples, is the data that we can acquire through people connecting their accounts really gives us a window into their lives and their actual needs. So, you know, from a machine learning perspective, our algorithms can always be adapting, but what we want to use that for is to really be able to tailor the education and the referrals that we can do to a person that makes it relevant for them. So for example, from the lending product, you know, we're trying to get people off high interest debt. We can use these algorithms to be able to really develop what is our metrics, who are the people that we need to target, what is their behavior over time, and then equally show them that data. I think the data here, so a good example is, for example, during the COVID-19, just watching the data in the last 3 months, right? We saw pre-COVID spending. We literally saw a significant decline across categories in spending, other than, of course, internet sales and a little bit of hardware went up. But income in April actually sustained or went up because we saw stimulus checks hit in April. So, but really what we're worried about now is, okay, what happens in May when we're seeing possible unemployment hit, our unemployment checks coming. So the power of this data to be able to watch what's happening to our demographic as COVID-19 unfurls, and also be able to then tailor products that are right for them, that are happening and real time in this crisis can solve some of their problems, is really powerful. So we have a lot of data analysis and data roadmap that we're excited about.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I'm sorry, Bob,
okay.
I know I went over.
I had an idea. I think what I'll do is I'll start at 30 seconds. I'll just pop my picture back up so people kind of know what's coming. But I'm going to let everybody finish their last question.
Awesome. And I have to tell you, when I'm just displaying my screen, I can't see your picture. So I'm actually not even sure how to stop sharing my screen at this point. So
I think there's a little button on the top.
I'm trying to figure it out, though.
All right. Well, nice job. Thank you guys so much.
There we go.
And we're going to bring up, I'm going to get the stage here. All right. And so now coming to the stage, Johannes from Pdm.
Bob, can you hear me?
I can.
Terrific.
Are you all set? You got your deck ready to go?
Give me 1 second to make sure I have. How's that looking?
That looks good. All right. I'm going to disappear and start my timer.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. So yeah, my name is Johannes Krepon. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Pdm Automotive, and we provide an automotive aftermarket data platform. The automotive aftermarket, to specify that a little bit, is you have the OEM aftermarket, the OEM automotive market, which is when you go out and buy a car, or you bring your car to the dealership and have something repaired. And then you have the aftermarket, which is when you go to Advanced Auto Parts to have your brake changed, or when you buy a windshield wiper online. And the automotive aftermarket is a $400 billion industry annually, and $200 billion are traded in parts. And that's the industry, the part of the industry that we are in, to make it more profitable for businesses to trade parts. The company itself was established in 2017, and we do have recurring existing revenue. A little background on COVID and how that affects the automotive aftermarket. These slides show traffic congestion, and they are tied in with miles driven. Miles driven is one of the key metrics around the automotive aftermarket, because obviously the more miles a car gets driven, the more accident happens, the more wear and tear is on parts. So therefore the market increases. And we see from China, which is ahead of us in regards to taking back the lockdown, that congestion is already back at the normal level as it was prior to COVID, whereas public transportation is still lacking a lot. And this is what will also be now for the near future be the case, that you will see more people using personal transportation over public transportation, which obviously plays into the cards of selling car parts. We also see that e-commerce is picking up very well since it went down, obviously, with COVID hitting. And generally, the automotive aftermarket is declared to be essential. So our business or our customers have been active, allowed to produce parts, distribute parts, sell parts. And Jefferies, as an M&A firm, actually considers the automotive aftermarket to be downside protected. But what is it actually that we do? So another company that I founded 15 years ago is called Velocity Automotive. And with that company, it was always a struggle to grow the business because it was hard to get our hands on good data to actually add new parts to the e-commerce side, to marketplaces, etc., inventory and pricing. So we had missed opportunities in sales. We had too high return rates, and that was something where I said, okay, I've been dealing with this for over a decade now. I need to solve this. And Velocity is not alone. There are over 500,000 businesses in this industry that is on the receiving side of any kind of data, and that can be product data, that can be inventory data, pricing data, market analytics, and there are thousands of different sources to get that data from, 15,000 manufacturers, different WDs, and then obviously the market research firms. And the big problem is technology. Automotive, for some reason, is always behind. And this is something that's not a picture out of the 80s. That's actually a current picture, to where you would see that cataloging in automotive is still very print-driven, and technology is lacking in this field. You have to see that automotive is very complex in in the data structure. So if you sell a T-shirt, you have a fabric, you have a color, you have a print and a size, and that pretty much describes your product. If you have an automotive part, you have the same aspect that you describe the part itself. So it's a wheel, it has a diameter, it has a width, a material, a color. But then you have the second dimension, which is the fitment. What does that wheel fit on? Does it fit on a Porsche? Does it fit on a Ford? Does it fit on a Chevrolet? And there are 45 million ways to describe fitment. And this number results from all the different variations that you have. If you look at a pickup truck, it can have a different bed length, cab configuration, engine, transmission, brakes. There are so many details around the vehicle to describe fitment that it ends up being that large number. And that is centrally organized. There are standards in this industry that are used by big companies, and we make them available to the entire industry. And the standards are updated on a monthly basis. So it's not an easy undertaking to actually utilize them. And our solution is a cloud-based platform. Again, it's built on top of established standards, so we're not reinventing the wheel. We're simply making what is out there accessible to the entire industry. And our technology is built on 3 pillars. The first one is data analytics and data improvement. So parts manufacturers use our system to manage the catalog data. Our system runs validations against their data to industry best practices, to their customer requirements. And then we have tools to easily support them to improve that data. The second part is connection. So we are also acting as a lead generation to where the parts manufacturers that are on our system can connect with resellers. So we are a marketplace to that extent. And then the third part is integration. So we are not a silo in operation. Our system connects to e-commerce places. We have an API to connect into eBay, into Amazon, ERP systems, etc. If you look at a comparison, AFE, one of our customers, they used to have to manage different formats for different customers, which then still need to get converted because big companies like an Advanced Auto Parts, O'Reilly, Amazon, all require their own proprietary, while it's still within the standard, their own proprietary version of a standard. With using PDM, AFE has one central platform where they can connect to their e-commerce site, they can export price lists for their customers, they can send the data directly to Amazon, Advanced Auto Parts, O'Reilly, etc., and have all the technology that is the latest technology actually to use for their catalog data. The business model, it's a software as a service business model. Right now, we are monetizing the parts manufacturers. Here are some of the examples. We are just now getting into the enterprise field, have an exciting lead that we are about to close with 7,000 monthly recurring revenue and some custom development. But the business model is around the SKU count that a company has. Sales traction, so we started in March 18, able to increase sales by 4 times between December 18 and December 19. The lower chart shows you the parts manufacturers using our system, which is the dark blue bar, and then the receivers, which is the light blue bar. And that light blue bar is all organically grown. We haven't advertised that yet. And that's the exciting part about the business model, because it has that flywheel effect to where one parts manufacturer will tell its customers to say, hey, this is where you can easily get the data. You can utilize the technology to sell my parts. So better data leads to more receivers lead to more manufacturers, and you get that wheel spinning, and a strong partner network further fuels that. We have great clients and partners, Stryker Group, big company. We work directly with Advanced Auto Parts, O'Reilly, to get them the data. We are an eBay development partner. We comply with Amazon's regulations for fitment distribution. So we are very excited to have a strong lineup of data receivers and customers. The market itself, we see this to be north of $1 billion a year in recurring revenue. One thing that I want to point out is that purple area. So while it has always looked like this, especially with COVID, we see a big demand in going direct to consumer. So our technology and our system does not only support the parts manufacturers to be more efficient with their existing clients, WDs, multi-tier distribution, classic, again, automotive, old and very old structure. So you have multi-tier distribution, and that's what our system supports them with, but it already prepares them to go direct eventually. So they can easily expand into new opportunities. Obviously, marketing has changed too. While automotive is very conference and convention driven, that is now shifting to online. We have a great presence there as well. The biggest data-driven conference in automotive, we are their partner for judging data quality because we have the technology to do so. One exciting news that we have is this SEMA is the second largest association in this industry, and we are the semi-finalist in their Launchpad, which is like a business competition. And yeah, we just got those news yesterday actually, so I'm super excited about that. Our team, obviously, that's what makes this thing fly. Myself, the name gives it away. My brother, he's our CTO. I've worked with him on multiple projects, so we have proven to work very well together. Laura Desha, she just joined in December. Super excited. She's an industry veteran, former drag racer, so make sure to speak to her. She's also in the room. And Kevin Cannon, also super excited for him to join, leading up a customer onboarding if there are more complex technology integrations. Financial goals. So we are still going strong for our goal of 600K for this year, and obviously build this company to scale and grow. So looking for a bright future over the next years. And now the investment opportunity. There has been some discussion around whether we are closed or not. So while we are committed for $1 million with some angel groups, we have decided to also make room for SAC investment. So there is no limitation there anymore, and yeah, super excited to be in the finals, especially if we look at the potential where we can take this for a big exit to a large e-commerce or an ERP player or industry focused PE firm. And I see Bob. Hey, Bob. All right, thank you, everybody. Oh, now the other Bob joins.
Yes. All right. Let me.
No, you're the wrong Bob. I need the right
Bob. No, the right Bob's coming up.
Awesome. Thank you, Bob.
Absolutely. Nice job. Let's see here. Bring him up.
You guys have to unshare for Bob to be able to share.
All right. No, I don't think you do.
Oh, too late.
That's all right. I'm going to disappear. Good luck, guys. 5 minutes.
Hi, all. My name is Bob Davidson. I was the lead working with Johan and the. I have all my questions here so you can see and get an idea of what's going on, but fundamentally, the same things during due diligence. We're looking at the team, the market, the product and technology, customers, competition, and we had a legal, which was bigger than most. So I'm going to go through them relatively quickly, please, so we can answer some other questions. And when we're looking at the leadership team, we wanted to make sure that they're a strong team, they're aware of the market, they're motivated, they're moving forward, they're effective. We also want to make sure that they're a team that is learning and taking changes as the market adapts. And we were pleased with that. In several instances, you know, we went over some of the financial things. We can we do this, and they've made changes based on feedback already. So I'm really pleased with their ability to listen, to learn, to pick up new techniques. There's a difference between Europe and the United States, so that's always been part of this here, and they've been a pleasure to work with all across the board. And they have a drag racer on their team. This was really cool. So we get a chance to talk to Laurel Du. In terms of the market, Johannes did a very describing that. What he calls a flywheel in the U.S. network effect, and there is a strong network effect, and it's being driven by the parts manufacturers. So what he calls a provider, a whole market, which level old way of doing things. The question is, as you start consolidating the data and having a repository for the data, how many winners are there going to be? How many players can be there? It's interesting, and I'm not sure that we have a good answer to this one yet. I think it's going to be a small number of winners. I don't think it's necessarily going to be one. As the standard is there, but as your standard is constant on top of it. So early movers are going to have an advantage. So we think it's important. We can help these invest to help them get to critical mass early and join. Tech product, does it work? Are there any to them? Is it providing unique value? What's their protection? We talked about not technology that they need for the stat, which is basic conversion from catalog and having the data be correct. All things that they have done well. So they're not just the problems with the XML coming in or the form. So if the user or feedback to here, that's important. I'm trying to go a little fast, so if that's too fast for people, sorry. The barriers to entry, again, I don't think it's a winner take all, but it's a winner take most. Customers, we had great feedback when we talked to customers. They were very pleased. Customers were referring the system to other peers. So I think that the team, the PDM team, has a job of feel part of the community, bringing them in and engaging with them, can deliver that have been asked for. All the feedback from the customers, very, very positive. Competition, there are a couple of things out there. We looked at lateral markets, management system, sort of web content management system, might have an opportunity here, but the ACEs and PIs formats for handling this automotive data are pretty specific and they're pretty complicated. So it's not an easy lift to get in there. You have to, but again, I think early mover on the platform, so getting there first. Legal, they came from Germany. They were German deeper because it was unfamiliar. We've resolved all the issues. Do it. The IP is there.
Okay, 30 seconds.
Oh, that can't be 30 seconds because I got to go to the questions. Okay, so Johannes, I'm going to go to the last one, which is where are you going? How PDM wants to be a lead in the market person.
Yeah, so I mean, actually, those two questions that you would have asked pretty much are to be combined for me, because it's really right now it's a hot market where people realize they need to have good data to connect to the entire industry and to increase their sales, especially in some of these times. And it's really important for us to be that winner takes it all, and that's definitely what we are after, being the right platform, being the biggest platform, and definitely supporting with technology. That is what it's all about. I mean, our competitors, you can go there and download a file, but that doesn't get you very far. And with the technology that we lay over the existing standards, that's how we're gonna win this thing.
Great. All right. Thank you, Johannes and Bob. Terrific, really interesting. One of those unsexy, like who to thunk it market. So nice job. So I'm going to get you guys on
Thank
the
you.
stage. And we're going to bring up Keck from Fieldnotes. Welcome, Keck. So I can't hear your microphone. It might just be me.
Does this work now?
That works.
Awesome. Awesome.
All right.
Okay. Let me try and
good.
And bear with me for a sec.
Sure.
Gotta move a couple of things there. Do you see my screen?
I do.
Okay.
All right, I'll
awesome.
get out of the way. I'll start my timer now.
Okay, awesome. Hi, everyone. My name is Keck Tay. I am the CEO and co-founder of Fieldnotes AI. We're a software company that has built an AI platform to be able to help empower salespeople to sell more. Just to do a quick introduction of the team, the experience and the passion that we bring to the organization. So as for myself, this is my third startup. I've gone through 2 other startups prior to that. The prior one, we had a successful IPO, and I took that opportunity to kind of grow and kind of start this company itself. And this is also, my background has been all in customer success and account management. And then I've got Jake Collier, whose background is enterprise sales and real estate, Joy Raj, whom I had worked with back at Microsoft. He's a data scientist, and he comes with also, his work shows for itself with 2 technical design patents. I also want to give a shout out to our advisors and early investors, Derek Callis and Eric Lee as well. Now let me frame up the problem that we're trying to solve for and help you guys understand what's going on. So for us, the problem that we're trying to solve for is that, back in my days of account management or in sales, the CRM is one of the most important, if not the most important arsenal in a sales organization. It helps a salesperson to be much more effective. But the challenge is that, the CRM is not being used to its fullest potential. In fact, if you look at Forbes, they did research and shared that only 18% of a sales 18% is being adopted by salespeople. So what does that mean? What does that translate, or why is this happening? What's happening is because salespeople are people, right? They want to talk to people. They want to be meeting with them. And so instead of like sitting behind the desk doing data entry and entering the data into a CRM. So what happens is then, as any other salesperson that I know, they typically enter it onto their phone, or write it on your notebook, or worse, like my mom, who used to be a real estate agent, she would write it on scrap pieces of paper and kind of enter it there, and information would get lost. So then what does that impact them in terms of, like, you forget about the follow-ups, you forget about who the clients are, the leads are, the opportunities. And so then, past clients, you forget to follow up with them, and they start falling through the cracks. And then that impacts them in the pocketbook in terms of lost revenue, lost sales. As much as 40%, in fact, that was kind of researched by Salesforce.com themselves. So that begs the question, what are we doing about that, right? For us, we want to reinvent, our vision is to reinvent the way the CRM works for salespeople. We want to make it easy for them to use. So we've got 3 key pillars that we've kind of put in our solution: smart data entry, the AI assistant, the integration of it. So from a smart data entry, the way that we've kind of lowered the barriers to kind of do the manual data entry is by doing this. We allow you, the salesperson, to be able to update your CRM through voice, text, or email. In fact, you could use our optical OCR, the engine, to be able to send a document where a purchase sales agreement for a real estate agent, it will be able to extract out all the key dates of a transaction so that the agent doesn't forget about it. The AI assistant also helps you to, with the technology that we have, it's called natural language processing. And so it helps you to access an assistant to the salesperson to organize their contacts, to be able to do the follow-ups, to be able to kind of do lead generation as well too. And from our perspective, this AI platform then connects to CRMs, making it easier. In fact, it connects to our own CRM and several other CRMs as well too. We've got an API that allows us to integrate to other applications, and that's our goal of doing that. So in a nutshell, we're a subscription-based software that's an AI platform that makes the sales tool, the CRM, more effective and easy to use, such that for a salesperson, it means that no leads are lost and more sales are closed. So kind of sharing with you a little bit of how we get our earn our business and grow our business overall. So over the past 2.5 years, we have really grown our business through 3 distinct channels: direct sales, affiliate marketing, and enterprise. And really, direct sales, where we have our inside sales agents, been focused, where a majority of our sales in 2019 came from this channel. And then we started kind of expanding as we kind of gain more traction. We have earned, the trust of many sales real estate coaches to kind of entrust their clients to use our platform to help them with their business, or marketing agencies who look to us to help convert more of their leads to be able to convert and through our lead generation system as well too. And the opportunity for us for the enterprise side is that over the past year as well, we've been growing from working with small teams to brokerages, but we have this huge opportunity to accelerate our growth by working with larger brokerages across the country. So I often get this question: what's this? Why are we in this space? What's the market opportunity look like for us? Well, we have we have focused on the real estate initially, and that's where we've been focused on, and that's our plan to focus on real estate and gain the traction there. In that space alone, we've shown even to our due diligence team, the research there that we've done is that this is a $1 billion market opportunity for us to go after. Now, that's not where we're just stopping. We're excited to also expand over time to be able to include the insurance, the mortgage industry, and that will more than double our market opportunity itself too. And then if you look at like the sales automation market, that is the space that we play in. That's overall an $8 billion opportunity. And really the highlight of this is that this is an opportunity which we can grow into and have massive growth opportunity there. So let's talk a little bit about competitive landscape. What makes us unique? How can we, stand out as a young startup growing into this space? So I highlight in this comparison slide here, 4 of the large real estate CRM tools out there, as well as Salesforce, which is the dominant CRM player in the overall global CRM market. What makes us stand out are these key distinct features that really helps to make it easy for you to want to use a CRM, to make sure that your contacts are being followed up and that you are converting leads to help you close more sales. And most of all, as well too, we are future-proofing ourselves. We're not just staying within real estate. We want to go beyond real estate. And that's where we'll experience the growth that we're looking for too. So how have we done? Let me share with you a little bit of our growth. So over the past 2.5 years, I can tell you that, we have been focused on organic growth with using our own investment of money, and that we've grown from 2019 to 2018, we did a 3x growth. And these are all real numbers. And this year, we're forecasted, and this is without additional funding, we're forecasted to kind of grow to 550. And this is reflecting the COVID pandemic that we're facing right now. So we're still continuing to grow, maybe not as much, but we will be growing as quickly too. And so even compared to our last month during the peak of the COVID quarantine period, we, instead of declining where many companies were declining, we were growing. And I'll share with you also this quick slide compared from Q1 of this past year compared to last year, how much we've grown, and even the previous year as well. So a little bit about ourselves and how we manage our own business, our own financials too. We're super capital efficient. Initially, we invested $114,000 in our company ourselves and with our initial investors and advisors. Our current burn rate is about $26,000 a month. We're profitable already because we have a monthly recurring revenue of $31,000. And what's important to note is that our philosophy that has allowed us to bootstrap right from the beginning is generating, has been due to paying customers. We've got over 300 paying customers that have fueled our growth. And that has translated to a 165% compounded annual growth rate. What this means is that we will experience a 12x increase over the next 5 years. So now that we're here, we're at the Seattle Angel Conference, and we're looking to kind of raise some funding. So our goal is to be able to break the barrier. 165% CAGR is not enough for us. We want to do more. We want to be able to hit our milestone of $1 million annual recurring revenue within the next 12 months. And so with the investment that we're looking for, it's really to invest the majority of it towards sales and marketing. We want to add fuel to the fire. We want to increase our sales capacity, accelerate our growth. And as I mentioned, focus on the enterprise space where it will really help us grow and tenfold, right? Marketing. We want to invest in this area because we want to reduce our overall customer acquisition cost. We know that by doing that, we need to expand our digital footprint. And then lastly, it's really to invest in the AI platform. So with that, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Keck.
Sure.
Great job. So now we're going to bring up Court. One second. And Court coming to the stage.
Hello, Bob. Okay.
Welcome, Court.
Hi, Court.
Good, by the way.
What's that?
Camera looks good.
Does it? Okay, good. Let me find my presentation here. Where is my slide? That's not what I want to do. Okay, give me just a second here. Where did we go? Okay, hang on. Here we go. Okay. Now, are we there yet?
Let's see. Go
Almost
ahead,
there, but not yet.
Not yet. Hang on. Oops. Nope. It didn't want like that either. Hey, Bob, there we go. So there's that.
That looks good.
Can you see it?
I can. All right, I'm going to disappear and I'm going to start my 5-minute timer. I'll be back with 30 seconds remaining.
Okay, great. All right, thank you very much. Great job, Keck. Good afternoon. My name is Court Stinnett. I'm the due diligence lead for Fieldnotes Ai. First of all, I'd like to thank our due diligence team, which made this a really great experience. A lot of hard work, late night meetings, a lot of really interested and highly invested diligence team made it a really good experience. We started off the 4-week process with a sales demo, and we went through the onboarding process with the Fieldnotes sales team. So we'd have a better understanding of the customer experience, kind of what they were getting into to understand the software better. We moved on and we did a technical deep dive, both of the architecture as well as the code. We're blessed in our team. We've got some really top resources on our team that were able us to do that. We also did several rounds of financial review and worked with Keck and his team to understand the financials and polish them up. We also looked at the TAM, the total available market, to understand, really how big is this market, not only in the real estate CRM, but also in the broader sense of where the product may go in the future. We also did a series of customer interviews. We interviewed customers that CAC had given us the information for, their customer contacts, but we also found some customers of our own. Our key findings from our diligence is the Fieldnotes app has a very strong core value proposition. This ease of CRM data entry resonates with the customers. We had great customer reviews. If anything, what we would hear is additional features that they would like to have in the product, which is really a great thing for a young software company, to have a good roadmap with the customers laying it out. And Fieldnotes has been very receptive to the customer and the feedback to kind of steer that software and improve the software. We also saw a very consistent sales growth, as you saw from Keck's numbers over the last 8 quarters. See a downward trend in the churn. It appears to be a very stable, repeatable type of a sales process that can continue into the future and even accelerate with some additional funding. The executive team we see as a strong positive. The deep experience in both real estate, startups, data science. And they also have the prior work experience, which is very, very important as you grow the business and it matures. You have to have good relationships with the other co-founders and the other workers on the team. We do, however, have some principal risks that we see in the company, some remaining questions. I'll ask Keck some of these questions in just a minute, but to brief through them, there's lots of competition in the CRM space. There's real estate specific. There's also big general purpose CRMs. We also see limited barriers to entry. Fieldnotes is built on top of the AWS and Azure tools using the natural language and the optical character recognition. World-class tools, but others can build those similar experiences. And also, one of our other concerns is the team lacked marketing and financial experience. So just to Keck, real quick, if you could help us understand the CRM space, very competitive, lots of competition. How do you propose to differentiate yourself? What's your primary plan there to really differentiate from the others?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I shared with you some of the distinct features that we currently have right now to kind of differentiate ourselves. But however, our overall long-term vision actually is not just to become in a CRM, because that is a crowded space. What we are actually looking to do is really to become an add-on. We want to actually be a partner to other CRMs. We want the CRMs to be actually more effective and user-friendly for salespeople, right? And so we want to enrich through Fieldnotes. We want to actually enrich the environment of the CRM market overall, and that's our overall long-term vision itself. So we don't look at them as competitors.
Oh, excellent. Good answer. Okay, then the next one, the barriers to entry. Others can build on top. How do you propose to stay ahead of the competitors? If you start gaining traction, what's going to prevent them from just following you right down that hole?
Excellent question. So it is not, so for us, the value and the barriers to entry will actually be increasingly harder and harder as we grow. So we've been focused on the real estate space where we have collected a lot of data, and our value and the barriers to entry is really our data model that we're building for this AI platform. So we've got 2.5 years of head start right now building this data model, just specific for the sales, the CRM itself. Imagine what happens when we expand even further and increase that data model, to kind of get ahead of this, right? So that's a great question, actually.
Okay, and actually, it looks like we're running out of time, but real quick on the marketing, the financial experience.
Sure.
What's in there?
All right,
okay,
job,
Bob, bear with me one quick sec.
After 5 minutes, if you're in the middle of answering a question, I can let you answer, but everybody gets to answer just the last question that carries them to the 5-minute marker beyond. So, so
that's right.
Good job, both of you guys. Honestly, really good job.
Thanks, man.
All right, so I'm going to take you guys off stage here, and we're going to bring up our next presenter. All right, Nick from Neptune Fish Jerky. Nick, you're about to get tapped. And for all the presenters, I'm sending you a on deck message to let you know that you're next. So just use that as your opportunity to prepare. Make sure you're your deck is ready, your presentation's ready to share your screen. And I think we're doing pretty good on time, but I just want to keep things moving. All right, Nick, what happened with Nick? Oh, there he is.
I'm here, I'm ready.
Hey, Nick. All right, great. So go ahead and pull your stuff up, and let me, once I see your deck is ready to share, or once you've shared your deck, then I'll get out of the way and start the timer.
Are you seeing that? Are you good to go?
I do see it, and it looks amazing.
It's what we all need right now. All right. I'm going to start a little differently, and I'd like to begin with a question that I asked myself when I started. Use the work you do, your life's work, to create real impact in the world toward what you're most passionate about. My name is Nick Mendoza, and I am co-founder and CEO of Neptune, and what I'm most passionate about is our food system. I have deep roots in agriculture and actually partly grew up on a cattle ago. So you can imagine the look on my grandmother's face when I told her that I was selling my cattle to start a company making fish jerky. That's the look I got. But the reality is that my career was in sustainable aquaculture research, which allowed me to work in 8 countries and to sail with Stanford on 3 trans-Pacific research expeditions. And what drew me into this career was one ugly truth that I had learned, and that is seafood, a nationally traded food commodity, and each year half, 50 million pounds in the US alone, is wasted. That's enough to feed the population of Seattle for over 500 years, lost every year. We import 90% from overseas, less than 2% of which is traceable back to the source fishery that it was caught, which is the reason that unsustainable, socially unethical, and illegal fisheries end up on our plates with waste built into every step of that supply chain. This creates a problem for the consumer, where a lack of trust, knowledge, and especially convenience leads to 1 in 5 Americans expressing a strong desire to eat more seafood, if only it were a little easier to do so. Essentially, we have a $140 billion food category with a user experience problem. Meanwhile, in the snack food market, there's been a strong divergence away from red meat toward healthy, more snacking options in the $3 billion meat snack market. Yet, when you look at grocery shelves, percent of sets haven't adequately responded in consumer demand for alternative protein snacks. So, Grandma, how about that fish jerky? At Neptune, we've created healthy, high-protein jerky. U.S. West Coast rockfish and wild Alaska products have higher protein than beef, 100 times the omega-3s and about half the calories. They're non-GMO, gluten-free, keto, paleo, all the things that the modern consumer is looking for. But most importantly for me, we've built a model around sourcing and a model that we want to see in the food industry. We source undervalued U.S. West Coast rockfish, every packet of which is traceable to the source, fish, fishermen, and fishery. You might have a fillet of fish that has opportunity in the white tablecloth market, a Blue Apron subscription box, or a retailer. As soon as that fillet is 3 ounces, it might end up as waste, fertilizer, or just be thrown away. So this is an opportunity that both reduces waste in seafood, gives fishermen improves their bottom line, and gives us a competitive advantage in our price point in the fish that we source. Our other source fishery is wild Alaska pollock, frozen at sea and comes from the #1 rated MSC certified fishery on Earth and the most abundant fishery on the planet. But nutritional attributes and sustainability aside, we know, and what the report will tell you, is that consumers buy with their taste buds, which is why when we took the product from my home kitchen to one of the top food labs in the country in Portland, and ultimately to our large-scale commercial co-packer, we emphasized taste and the recipe before bringing the product to market. And in fact, even conducted 3,000 taste tests before ever. And if we were in person, I would be gladly hurling packets of jerky for y'all to try, but we can't do that. Instead, we had to do this testing ahead. We even drove a U-Haul 21 straight hours to make our first delivery of 18,000 packets through walls of flames in California and Oregon in launching the product. And when we did, our efforts paid off. Our Kickstarter actually #1 project on Earth. And we were selected by Massimo Bottura, head chef behind the #1 rated restaurant in the world, from 200,000 products as his top pick from the show. We're really proud that our online consumers give us 97% 5-star ratings, and each of our flavors, of which there are 4, have won awards for taste, texture, and the innovation of the product. Some more online metrics. We were Amazon's choice being on the platform, and our lifetime customer value is currently over $47 with a 31% reorder rate, which for an e-commerce brand with the margins that we have is a really great place to be. But when we think about the future of scaling Neptune to a $5, $10, $20 million brand, we see that happening in retail, which is why when we prepared over the last 8 months for retail expansion, we meticulously tested price point, merchandising strategy, grocery buyer strategy, and everything we might seek to learn before. And what we did learn was our go-to-market price. Both gives us a healthy margin, and with existing beef and other meat snack products and the handful of other seafood-based jerkies on the market. And something we didn't expect is that seafood buyers are champions, because the opportunity for an add-on product like this one that doesn't cannibalize existing sales is very attractive to them. And that's how we plan to expand into a broader retail landscape. We couldn't have gotten to where we are now, and we couldn't take on this next chapter of our company without our great team. Adding to my previously disrupting the $15 billion global shrimp farming industry, my co-founder, who's a financial organizer and has previous experience rising to CFO of a $600 million corporate in a very short time. And Jesse, our director of sales, with 10 years food CPG sales and merchandise, in 3 years with Crave Jerky through their $220 million exit to Hershey's. Beyond that, we have a great sales and marketing team that rounds out our current team. We target a growing group at the intersection of consumers of seafood and consumers of traditional jerky, and these are people who self-identify as environmentally health conscious, fitness junkies, and who make purchases that match their personal beliefs. But in reality, our consumers aren't overlap on a Venn diagram. They are people like Will, who never goes into the backcountry without taking a few packs of our jerky, and Dasha, who can't stop posting to her fitness followers about how she's found the most delicious, friendly snack on the planet. They're eaters like Celine and Autumn, who were as shocked as we were to find out that their toddlers voraciously devoured our jerky. So where we are now, we launched about a year and a few months ago, about 18 months ago. We have 4 products on the market. We've produced about 60,000 packets and just over 200,000 in revenue, with sales in all 50 states online and 50 retailers. But in reality, we view that phase as just our product market fit and testing phase to help us in this next evolution of the company and expanding both our online and retail distribution. With the help of this $850,000 seed round that we're currently raising, we have a roadmap set out for innovations and all the steps necessary to reach beyond 20 million in revenue and our ultimate goal of an exit to a larger food company, which begs the question, as a value-driven, sustainable brand seeking ultimately to exit to a big food company, how and what happens as we grow as a company. And for that, I'd like to draw a parallel to a company, a brand that we admire. Epic Provisions is a meat snack that was based in regenerative agriculture, which essentially livestock grazing in such a way that sequesters carbon and combats climate change. In under 2 years, Epic exited to General Mills for about $100 million. And what happened to that, at a time that nobody was really talking about regenerative agriculture as a speaking topic, General Mills put themselves front and foremost, and the rest of the industry followed. So collectively, we now have the biggest food companies in the world in this idea of because a small brand proved that there's a consumer base for the method of producing food and this vision of a more sustainable planet. So that brings us back to the question I asked you at the start of my talk, and that is, how can you use the work you do in your life and career to make a real impact on the planet? And I'd say that's how. Neptune would love to be the epic for seafood. We have a vision of disrupting the seafood industry, of changing the way that seafood operates, the magnitude of the waste, the lack of traceability, and these other problems that are the reason that I can't sleep at night as a founder who understands seafood. We're currently seeking investors in the seed round, and we invite you to join us on the ground floor of the journey to rapidly scale both a profitable outcome and our sustainability vision. Thank you.
Thanks, Nick. Awesome. Good job. So coming up to the stage next is Kate, and Kate will have her camera off, and I'm going to share my screen so that she can talk to her deck on my screen. We have some technical issues with her computer. So I'm just going to, as she's coming up, I'm going to share my screen. Hi, Kate. Are you ready?
Hi, yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, perfect. I'm just waiting to see that slide, and then I'm ready when you are. All right. Okay, Bob, ready when you are.
Can you see it?
Yes, I can see it. Okay.
Okay, good.
I'll go ahead and start my timer.
Okay.
So I'm Kate Fuller-Guffery, and our team was Dan Conavas, Thibault Labar, Narendra Vesh, John Yerketson, and my husband, Jason. And we really were drawn to Neptune Fish Jerky's sustainable vision, and it's really been a pleasure to get to know the team, the product, the market opportunity, and I'm happy to share that with you today. So regarding the team and the product, the strengths that we really thought stood out with Neptune was really a true passion and knowledge on the part of the co-founders on, as Nick said, disrupting the seafood industry and our food ecosystem. We also found that with meetings with the team and doing more research into the advisory board, they really have a well-rounded group that's well represented and really poises them in a great position moving forward. They also have a sustainable product that's the entire core of their mission, and have really strong early sales, considering they've only launched with their Kickstarter in 2018. Some potential challenges that we've been talking about were growing the sales team to allow for retail expansion at scale. And that's one of the uses of funds that they're going to be using moving forward. Regarding the market opportunity, the strengths would be growing a niche within this larger seafood market and meat snacks market, as consumers are demanding more meat alternative snacks, and there are few players within this specific niche. Potential challenges would be standing out from the existing competition, as well as adapting to a shift in consumer behavior with COVID. Regarding sustainability, strengths of the product relies on truly an abundant supply of wild-caught and American source products, and they're also made right here in Washington State. Potential challenges we've talked about are scaling to acquire the right partner in order to further this mission. So remaining questions we have. So first of all, Nick, how is your sales strategy adjusted to this new normal of COVID-19?
So almost immediately adjusted toward our home base to be e-commerce. Within the first couple months of March, we sold out of the product. It turns out people in a pandemic are really interested in a product like ours with a 12-month shelf, nutritional qualities. So it took us a few weeks to get in stock, but April ended up being one of our highest revenue months. And in terms of the retail side of it, we had a huge retail plan for the beginning of the month of March at Expo West, the biggest natural food product show in the country. And that's sort of been kicked down about a quarter. And this, I mentioned earlier, we had a $150,000 non-dilutive retail marketing grant, which was going to go toward demos, tasting, sampling, those sorts of in-person activities, which we're able to funnel back toward more of our e-commerce support and marketing endeavors. And once buying starts opening back up in the next quarter or two, kind of reshift our focus.
Fantastic. And when our team researched competitors in the seafood jerky niche, there seemed to be around 10 companies offering a similar that wasn't quite the same as yours, but was similar in some way. How do you set yourself apart with those competitors?
Absolutely. I have a couple slides if you guys want, but essentially there's only a handful of seafood-based jerkies out there. Essentially, we're defining a new category, and something that we learned from our director of sales, Jesse, is buyers actually seek competition. They want category creation that doesn't cannibalize existing buyers from other categories. So we view this as good, healthy competition. And despite that, really feel that our product is unique and great in ways that it has a familiar taste and texture to traditional beef. We have the sustainability component in the Find My Fish that is how a lot of users find us because of word of mouth spread and some other aspects that our brand pretty special. But when you compare it to the beef industry with 500 plus brands and the $1 billion Jack Link's brand that's been around for 140 years, the unicorns that came out of the beef jerky side, Crave, which exited for $220 million to Hershey's, Epic, and the fastest growing beef jerky in the country, which has just hit 35 million in revenue. They're all startups that have just one little tweak that finds a consumer that they can really connect with. So we're pretty excited in the protein
I'm going to
snack
cut you off
space.
a little bit, Nick, to skip to our last question. So amid all the finalists here are in the tech industry in some capacity. So as a consumer good, why should we invest in your company?
Yeah, thank you for asking. I think
Yeah, this will be the last question.
the reason is if you're interested in being in, again, at the ground floor of a business that's primed to scale toward a very profitable outcome, that can also scale a sustainability vision that leaves a lasting impact. I feel even we're the right company to do that, and until we get there.
Wonderful, thank you.
All right, well, thank you both. I'm a vegan, or vegetarian, but I look forward to hearing the reviews. I love the mission. All right, so Kate. Okay, good. All right, and thank you very much, Nick. I'm going to take you off the stage now, and I'm going to bring up Dan, as soon as I find you. There you are. Thank you, Dan, for raising your hand. That's very helpful. Okay, our last presenter, Dan Zolman from Case. And I'll just make a shout out to Wes Johnson. You're on deck in 10 minutes. So Dan, you want to go ahead and pull up your presentation?
All right, I'll do a quick audio check too. How is the audio sounding?
Sounds very good.
Okay, and let's see if we can get the screen share working as well. So are you able to see the slide deck now?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Well, 3, 2, 1, go.
And
hi, I'm Dan Zolman. I'm the CEO of Case. Case is a SaaS-enabled managed marketplace that helps people find and work with lawyers entirely online. In early March of this year, we received an urgent request from our partner, the Alameda County Bar Association. They saw COVID looming, and they knew that they would very soon have to shut down all of the pro bono clinics that they currently operate in Alameda County, that they serve 1.8 million residents and help them with their legal problems. We'd originally agreed to launch with them in September. but they needed it now because they knew that the need was looming. So I'm going to tell you the story of how a Vancouver-based tech startup that had not even been in market for 12 months wound up becoming a key part of the ACBA's COVID response strategy. But before I can tell you that story, I have to tell you another story. So I can tell you a story about Matt and Sarah. So Matt is an IT manager. He's 52 years old. He's been working for the last 15 years rather, at a mid-sized company in Seattle. Sarah's a lawyer. She worked in Seattle for several years, but decided to improve her quality of life by moving to and opening up her own practice in Bellingham. Sadly, on Monday, Matt was terminated. He was offered 3 months compensation, told to get legal counsel, but told he only had 72 hours to sign before this deal was going to be taken away. So after he got over the shock, on Tuesday, he started looking around for a lawyer. He reached out to 3 different people who he found online. 2 of them never got back to him. One did and said, "Hey, Matt, I'm happy to help you, but I'm in trial, so maybe we could schedule something for next week." So on Wednesday, Matt signed the offer. And it's too bad that Matt didn't find Sarah when he was searching for lawyers, because Sarah had time to meet. And if they had connected, Sarah would have told Matt, you know, you're probably owed 2 to 3 times this compensation, and you really shouldn't sign. So Matt's not alone. Nearly half of people in the US experience a legal problem in any 3-year period. Only 1 in 5 wind up seeking help from a lawyer. Those that do will spend about $80 billion each year on everyday legal services. So now Sarah's not alone either. Lawyers usually, tell you how busy they are, but for the 75% of lawyers who are solo or small practitioners, this is the reality. 8 hours worked, 2.5 hours on a billable file, 2 wind up on an invoice, 1.7 gets collected. The rest of their time is spent on administrative tasks and finding new clients. This is why we created CASE. CASE helps people find and work with lawyers completely online to address their everyday legal problems. Services include calendaring and scheduling, instant messaging, document exchange. We've integrated a complete SaaS platform to facilitate fully online delivery of legal services. From a business model perspective, it's dead simple. Clients pay as they go by credit card. Lawyers pay CASE a flat fee for every hour transacted. It's all handled through Stripe. Everybody collects instantly. Now, this is a busy space, and we know it. But the majority of organizations that set out to try to disrupt the legal industry resigned themselves from the get-go that lawyers are going to have to transact offline. We started from a different approach. Our background is actually in telehealth and teleeducation, and for us, it was legal services. It's a no-brainer. Of course, we can deliver this online. So with fully online delivery, CASE captures all revenue and all data in the platform, which we think is an extraordinary competitive advantage. Okay, so how we're doing. So CASE's SaaS platform has been live in BC now since last spring. We've got 25 lawyers who are onboarded, 300 consults since January. We're starting to get some gross services volume through the platform. We're starting to get some revenues, but two-sided marketplaces are tough. We know you've got to bring supply and demand into the same place at the same time, and it typically takes lots of money to launch. So we're bootstrapped. How do we launch? Well, it started, especially if our vision is to become the equivalent of Amazon, but for professional services, if we want to become a household name, if we want to become a brand that is recognized globally. Well, we started out by doing good. One of the things that my co-founder Tom and I had said from the very beginning is we're going to make the CASE platform available for pro bono consults, unlimited. We're not going to charge lawyers. If they're not making money, we're not making money. It's part of our corporate social responsibility. In September, we were approached by BC's largest pro bono organization who had just inherited a lawyer referral service, 1,700 lawyers. They had to manage 20,000 referrals a year. And they said, hey, would you honor your commitment to give the platform for free so that we could use it? And Tom and I took a sharp intake of breath and thought, okay, this is how we can maybe hack the supply side of our marketplace while also impacting demand. The question we had, though, is this scalable? Can we do it? Or did we, across North America, or did we just get lucky in BC? So we hopped on a plane, we flew to Austin, Texas. We attended the American Bar Association's annual not-for-profit lawyer referral service conference. This is what we learned. There's more than 500 of them in the USA. Typically, state and bar associations, they aggregate demand, they refer cases to lawyers. Most of them have minimal online presence, outdated labor-intensive processes, and the world's worst collection problem, because their business model is to charge 10 to 20% of lawyer earnings on each legal matter. So that means that they go to lawyers a year, 2 years after they refer a matter and say, hey, whatever happened with that case? And by the way, if you transacted, could you cut a check for 15% of the fees? When we got back to Vancouver, we thought, let's follow up with a couple of these. We picked 3 in the Bay Area, and we followed up with 2 of them. The first was the Alameda County Bar Association. When they saw that we took legal services and we segmented it into a series of microtransactions, and we charged as we went, which meant that they could get paid as they could go, well, the short story is that we signed them in 8 weeks. What does this mean? As far as the deal goes, well, we give our partners unlimited use of the Case platform, and we provide them with training and support. In exchange, we take their offline marketplace and we bring it online. Their GSV is now our GSV. They take responsibility for onboarding their lawyers and training them. Lawyers are encouraged to practice in both the LRS, so they're, in this case, Alameda County and Case. Both lawyers and clients must create Case accounts to work, and then we get to refer and monetize our own leads into the marketplace. This is what it looks like as a diagram. So ACBA, 10,000 organic leads a year. This is what they currently have. 100 lawyers is what they currently have. And the GSV and the revenue, minus their collection problem, that's what they currently operate. We add in Case to the Alameda County Bar Association. We bring modern digital marketing and our partnership strategy for active lead gen. We migrate over 50 of their lawyers into our platform. And that one deal then starts to add close to 15 million in gross services volume and just under 3 million in revenues directly to Case. Now, I had to show you this to illustrate just how important these partnerships are for us. This time last year, we developed our first forecast for what lawyer onboarding was going to look like at Case. And we thought if we worked hard and diligently, by July of 2021, we should have 120 lawyers in the Case platform. Thanks to the 3 lawyer referral service deals that we've now signed, this is what our onboarding strategy looks like. We have a total of 2,600 lawyers who are committed through their partner organizations to be practicing in Case. And these organizations are highly motivated to bring their lawyers into the Case platform as quickly as possible. Not only because it solves, in the case of ACBA, their collection problem, but because it solves for their member lawyers a huge delivery problem that they all face as these lawyers struggle to figure out how they can actually provide legal services in a post-coronavirus age. So what this means, 2,600 lawyers, 30,000 organic referrals, this seeds our marketplace. What does this mean in terms of revenue? So the model that you're seeing here is a financial model that's based solely for the next 3 years on us monetizing our 3 key relationships over and above our existing service that we operationalized in BC last year. In terms of the progress that we've made, traction, we succeeded. We brought the ACBA virtual pro bono up by 6 months. We launched in April. BCLRS is already live and transacting. ACBA paid referral starts June 2nd. Our fundraising pre-SAC 50K. We've been pitching. We just closed another 50K last week. We've got a ton of meetings booked for the next week. So we're sitting at 100 of 500K raised. Final thing, why Case? Return, positioning, our team, we're ready, and our momentum is beyond our most optimistic estimates. So join us, an opportunity to do good, do well, and be part of Case. Thanks very much.
All right, thanks a lot, Dan. Nice job. So coming up to the stage, we have Wes.
All right, looks like that's working. All right, I'll share my screen.
Oh, sorry, let me stop sharing for you, Wes.
Oh, that's fine. So thank you, Dan. Hi, I'm Wes Johnson. I was a due diligence lead for Case, and I'm going to start my timer. So worked together with Elizabeth Cross, Nichols, Martha Chamberlain, Greg Chappelle, Colin Powell, and Kate Kiddo. Some questions we explored with Case were, so since they're bringing this managed marketplace, we were looking at both the demand and the supply levers. And as Dan talked about earlier, they had quite a bit of energy that's been put into the supply side. So they've built partnerships with these legal governing bodies like Alameda County and also ACBA for that. They've also been looking at other partnerships with kind of related partners that would be financial planning or others that would help bring to the supply side. On the demand side, while they do have some early revenue, they have yet to kind of prove out that demand. And so part of that is being addressed by this legal referral service. But then the other piece that they have to focus on is the search engine optimization and the paid search. So working on that piece to validate that. Now, the competition is definitely a very fragmented marketplace with Avo, Rocket Lawyer, Up Counsel, Justia, and others. You know, and I think they all address different pieces of the legal profession, but none really have quite this platform piece and pulling together all the pieces that they do to have kind of this marketplace. So with their product, they have the ability to allow clients to look for the right legal help, to schedule an appointment, to book that appointment and get a consultation. If it works well, they will go ahead and work on a legal matter with an attorney. And then after that, there will be the billing that's taken care of for the attorneys, as well as they'll receive that money in their account. So it takes away a lot of the hassle map from that. Right now, they are only on a web-based platform, so they don't have any mobile apps like in the App Store for Google Play or for the Apple Store. That is a potential thing that they can look at in the future with maybe even as simple as a HTML-based skin. And then with that, just working on improving their SEO rankings, the speed of the load, and also paid search. So with the team, we found that they have just a great depth of experience, a number of attorneys, past and present lifetimes of career, as well as management consulting background. We interviewed a lot of references of people that they've worked with, as well as the CEO of the Alameda County Bar Association, and a lot of very positive reviews of the team and interactions. I think where we're looking at their growth is they're currently using a part-time CTO to help them navigate their product. Once they get maybe to their Series A funding, they will be looking at bringing on a full-time CTO for that. As well as, while they don't have direct market building experience within the team, they've definitely done research and as management consultants, good at picking up the drivers and working on that. So that's kind of some things we're looking at with the team. As far as legal, they have contracts for keeping the attorneys transacting through Case once they start. So while they can't monitor everything, they've at least covered their bases there and provide the opportunity to exclude people from the platform and potentially have legal actions. They also have bound the attorneys and the platform together through 3 contracts, which will help them prevent a lot of arbitration that could arise. Oh, okay, so I'm finishing up here.
Finish your thought, and then we'll move on.
Okay, so yeah, the couple things with their financials is just looking at their spending over the coming months and the runway as they look at executing.
Okay,
so
good. All right. Well, thank you both. And so now we're going into the final stretch. I'll relieve you guys of the stage here. Boom. And boom. All right. Okay, I'm gonna show my mug. Or maybe I won't. Okay. So I'm not sure if you guys can hear me. My screen has locked up.
Yep, you're doing good.
Okay, as long as you can hear me, nobody needs to see me. So I'll just share with folks what happens next. So I want to make a personal observation too, having done this now 17 times. The quality of the companies that are presenting and the quality of the founders is just incredible. It's very impressive. It's humbling to see such quality companies and founders and pitches. So kudos to everybody. This is really, really a terrific presentation day. Now, what happens next is the investors are going to run off. They're going to make a decision. While they do that, we'll be working on a couple things ourselves as a group. So we're going to continue to mingle. In a moment, you're going to see an announcement's going to come by, and you'll see a link. I'll put it in the chat as well. And this will be the audience vote link. That's a SurveyMonkey poll. So you'll click on it, pick your team. If you have any questions between a couple teams, you're not quite sure which direction to go and you need to go talk to a company, they will be back at their tables again. And other than that, just continue to mingle and meet folks. John will, in a moment, shuffle the investors off to Buffalo, and he will notify me when they have a winner, and then we'll bring everybody up. We'll announce the audience favorite first. The audience favorite. So first of all of the founders of the finalist teams, all 6 teams, you are cordially invited to join Startup Haven. And whether or not you play poker or not, I strongly encourage you to participate in the probably the best networking event we've ever done, which is called Startup Poker 2.0. And I'm going to cover your first buy-ins. And then for whoever wins, for all the founders, I'm going to, for Startup Haven, offer you guys a complimentary Member Advantage membership, which is $300 a piece. And I trust you'll find that to be very valuable as well. So, John, do you want to come on and cajole, hustle, Russell, the investors?
Yeah, so all of the investors on the Investor LLC should have gotten an email this morning with the link to the decision Zoom. So be sure to close your Remo window so we don't get a loop in terms of the sound, and then join that Zoom. So we'll come back to Remo after we've made our decision. Go to that Zoom room now. Thanks.
All right. All right. Let the networking commence. I'm going to leave presentation. Oh, actually, hey, John, can you leave presentation mode since I'm stuck, locked up?
Yep. Bye.